Back in 1939, Batman was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, and it was only 4 years after that that we got our first live-action version of the character. And since that moment, we've had a version of Batman in either film or TV almost continually. And with all those different versions, there's a lot of different looks that the Dark Knight has had. And so today, I want to rank all of the different live-action Batsuits that have been used over the years and see which ones are the best and which ones definitely fall short. This definitely isn't going to be one of those lists that claims to be every Batsuit, but we only talk about, from Michael Keaton until Ben Affleck. I'm going to try my very best to include everything in here, but if I did forget a Batsuit, please let me know. So with all that being said, let's get into this kind of dive into the history and ranking of the Batsuits. And so we're going to start off in 1943 with the multi-part serial, The Batman, starring Lewis Wilson. If we take a look at this Batsuit, for the time, I think it's decent. I think even compared to what was going on in the comics at the time, it's not that far off of what we had going on. It's very clothy, right? Which I like that look. It's got the underoos, which also I think it's brave to try it out, and I think it looks good. The horns are a little more devilish than Bat, if you ask me. They kind of got that curve out from the side. I really do like the emblem too, with the kind of the embroidery around it, the stitching and everything. I think it looks good. The one big thing for me that doesn't work on this one is going to be that belt. It's ginormous. I think overall, this one, for the time especially, did a good job of bringing the character to life. It definitely doesn't fit the current look of what people expect from a live-action Batman suit nowadays, but I honestly think it's pretty good. I'm going to give this one a C. It's a good starting point. Then 6 years later, we had a new Batman. Another serial came out, Batman and Robin. Robert Lowery is playing the Caped Crusader here, the Dark Knight himself. It's very similar. I think that there's a lot of reused things probably even when it comes to this. I'm not a historian, so I know that I'm probably going to get some of that stuff wrong. I think it's got a lot of the pros from the last suit, but I think there's some step downs here. First off, these gloves. They look like the kind of gloves that you would grab out of your dad's truck to be able to pretend to be Batman. They look worn out also compared to the rest of the suit. Again, it could just be the photo quality of these two when it comes to telling the difference on them, but the emblem, it looks kind of goofy. It almost looks like googly eyes. I know it's not, but it looks like googly eyes instead of ears on the bat. And it's just so bright, the stitching on this one. But my biggest complaint is going to be that cowl difference. Those ears don't look like ears at all. They definitely are sticking out like horns. And the guy's face, at least in this picture, is just, I'm sorry, Robert. Mr. Lowery, it's not good. It's not a good look. It's a step down for sure. I don't want to go too far too quick. This is a D. Then we move on to what most people considered Batman for a very, very long time. Adam West playing him in the TV series that started back in 1966. Also the movie, which came out in 1966. I just love the material of it. I think there's something fun about an actual material bat suit that we don't get with the armor and the rubber that shows up in a lot of the live action stuff. It's not realistic, but none of this is realistic. And the thing I like about Batman is that it's, crazy and creative and fun. And so I love that he could do this and just do it in complete seriousness. The belt is still really big, but it's a little bit more under control from what we were seeing back with Lewis Wilson. I like the colors on this one too. The blue and the gray, again, I think underutilized when it comes to live action Batman. I've never been a big fan of the emblem on this costume. It seems almost placed too low. The cowl and the cape, being obviously separate from each other, doesn't bother me at all, but it is something that I do notice. And then when we look at the cowl itself, it's iconic. I think at this point, I do like it for what it is as a part of history with Batman and everything. But if we're just looking at it do I like it in the design? There's a couple things that work for me, a couple things that don't, and some of it is the same. I do like that they're trying to build out a face on it, so it's not just a solid color, but the eyebrows just kind of read weird to me. And the box around the nose also, it's I understand what you're going for. I don't know if it's accomplishing what you wanted to. The ears also a little short for my liking. I do like a little more length on those, but that's just a personal preference thing. It's a real good look overall, I think. And it was Batman for 30 years. This was who Batman was to most people if you weren't reading comics. I give it an A. It's an A. I'm going to treat this next one as a separate costume, though there's really only one big difference to it. And this is from the episode Surf's Up, Joker's Down, episode 10 of season 3 of Batman. This is the one where Batman surfs in the surfing competition against the Joker, and he wears a swimming suit. And I love it. I think it's very funny. Do I think it makes it a better Batsuit? No, it doesn't. I'm still struggling to see like if the pattern on it is something or just like floral. I've been looking at it for a very long time, and I'm still up in the air on that. I think the swimming suit knocks it down to a D, but I think it's fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. And then we move on to 1989's Batman starring Michael Keaton. He's got one suit in this movie, and it is a big departure and would really kind of lay the groundwork for what was going to come when it comes to these Batsuits in the future. It's like rubber. It's realistically not something you'd want to be moving around a lot in, but if you're just going for a look, it's pretty great. Obviously, at this point, if you know anything about Batsuits and everything, you know he can't turn his head, so he's got to turn his whole body, which is kind of a part of the fun at this point, how his fighting style changes and everything because of that. I do like how the cape comes up and connects to the emblem. The belt, I think, is super cool. It's not too big, though the placement of it does leave me wanting a little bit more. Like you'll notice right below the belt, there's like the seam for the rubber, and it should be covering that seam, especially in this promo image that's like, hey, here is the Batsuit. This is what it looks like. Plus, in the movie, it kind of moves. Like there's a scene where Batman turns and the Joker's in a helicopter and his belt like falls. And I notice it every single time I watch the movie. The suit itself being all muscly and everything, it's not to the extreme that some suits in the future will be, which will be too far. So this one, it's okay for me. I do miss the briefs. We need something to just kind of break up the bottom half because it's very just bland, especially compared to the top of it. You weren't seeing a lot of full body shots like this in the movie. So, you know, I mean, you make the suit for the movie, but when you just get a good look at it, I feel like there's should be something going on in the pants area. Ear length, great. I think that it's weird how much of his face is showing. I don't think they've quite figured out like the mouth part of it here. And really the biggest sin of this suit is, you know, the emblem itself. The poster for this movie, right? It's the Batman logo. The logo that Batman wears in the movie is not the logo of the movie. And it's not a logo that we've really seen anywhere else either. It's got extra little points on it. I don't know why they did this. And obviously it's something that they wanted to change because they did on the next suit. And though this is my favorite personal Batman movie, it's not my favorite suit. So I think that I'm going to put this one in, I'm going to go C tier again. There's definitely some room for improvement. So now we're talking with this one, with like the armored Batman Returns suit from 1992. They definitely made some big changes, right, between the last one and this one. So it's no longer like sculpted muscle. It now looks like armor that he's wearing. The belt comes back pretty much unchanged. Good idea. The emblem is way better. It's the logo for the movie for starters, but it's also bigger. And I like the color of yellow that they use in it. There's some good changes to the cowl. I think that they show off more of his, like, it comes up more on his face as opposed to like just kind of be like a flat. And just overall, like with the whole cowl, it just is cooler. I think that the ears are better. The shaping on the side of the head, I really like that too. This one for me, it might be the top. I think I'm going to put Batman Returns in the S tier. And that could be controversial, but hey, let me know. Then we get to 1995's Batman Forever. Val Kilmer's wearing the suit in this one. They call this main suit the Panther suit. I don't know. I've never seen a Panther with abs like that, but hey, I don't really like the changes to the belt. I like the yellow. Again, we're getting a lot of black. You look at this picture and like the bottom half of him doesn't even exist. I like the logo. It's stylized to fit like what's going on with the movie and everything. The gauntlets are way more spiky, but again, really slick. Again, going with the whole feel of the movie. Back to the sculpted muscle instead of the armor that we had in the last movie. And then you have the big thing that people like to point out, and that is, you know, the bat nipples. I personally didn't really notice when I was a kid. And I understand why Joel Schumacher did it. He said he wanted them to look like statues, and like on statues, there are nipples. For whatever reason, it really set off people. And now it's kind of impossible to get around it. I think the cowl works. It's pretty scowly. He's pretty unhappy looking. But again, that fits the character, especially in this movie. He's a sad Batman. I do want to point out the armpits and how unprotected they are. I understand it's for movement, but man, like in this shot right here where his arms are up, it's very noticeable where it's just like it's mesh there. And I don't know, it just kind of is funny when you get to see those little seams. I don't know if I'd be showing that off in that picture. So nipples aside, I kind of really like this suit. I think it as far as like the Batman of the world that exists in that movie, this suit fits pretty much perfectly with it. I think I'm going to put it in the B tier. Now, unlike with Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, he gets 2 suits. And so the second suit they call the Sonar suit. This is the prototype suit that he uses after the Riddler destroys everything else in the Batcave. I think it's awesome. I think that this might be one of the best Batsuits in live action. It fits with the movie. It gets rid of the big thing that people like to complain about. Like, people don't mention this suit when they're talking about like, oh, what's wrong with Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, because I don't think there's much wrong with this suit at all. It sticks with human anatomy kind of, but it's futuristic looking. It's got a great color. I love like the kind of silver to it. Again, fitting with the movie. You can't drop this into the Batman. You can't stick Robert Pattinson in that movie and have it work. But in the movie that it's in, I think it works really, really good. The cape also for this one has like a real weight to it. Like when he whips it around, it's like that thing's heavy, and I think that's pretty cool. So in our Batsuit, for me, I think that's going to get A tier. I think we got to go at least A tier for that one. I don't blame you if you put it higher. So then we come to 1997. George Clooney is Bruce Wayne and Batman in this movie, and the suit is I mean, it's got the big problem, which is still those bat nipples. So people are going to just be like, that's what's wrong with it. But if you look at it as a whole, I think it's actually not bad. It is all one color. So again, for me, kind of boring. I'd like to see a little more variety in there. I think the cowl is awesome. I love the ear length on it. I like the sculpting on the neck too, where you're getting the muscularness of that too. The clasps for the cape. And again, the cape looking nice and heavy and big. But like the muscle sculpting on this one feels very stylized, and the fact that it's all like kind of blue, even though I do like the color of blue that it is, it makes it feel a little less, I don't know, slick. I feel very bad for George Clooney and just his whole experience with being Batman. He's always apologizing to people for it, but I just want to say for myself personally, George Clooney, you don't need to apologize to me. I will take Batman and Robin as it is and enjoy it for what it is. So, apology not accepted. When it comes to the suit, though, and grading it, I am probably going to go way too high for most people. I'm going to give it a C. Now, just like Val Kilmer did at the end of the last movie, they got to throw him in another suit at the end of this one. This time, there's no reason. In the last one, there was a plot reason why Val Kilmer was running around in a different suit than he was earlier in the movie. But in this one, they're just like, we need to sell more toys. So this is why you're going to wear this one. So this one's got a lot of silver on it. I know I've said that I wanted to have some more color. This is not what I was talking about. The sculpt of it and everything, I guess, is all right. I do kind of like the brass knuckles like that he's got going on. That's pretty cool. He's really going to mess up Arnold Schwarzenegger's face. The codpiece, though, is like wild, like out of this world. Like, look at that thing. I don't mean to draw your attention to it too much, but look at that thing. It's like a gargoyle on the side of a building or something. Whoa. The cowl is very similar to the Sonar suit at the end of Batman Forever, like with like kind of all the engraved parts on it too. So, I mean, I don't know. I think this is a D. Next up, just want to mention something that I actually covered in another video that I made a long time ago, talking about the OnStar Batman commercials and also the Birds of Prey TV show back in 2000 and 2002. From this suit, you get some Val Kilmer stuff, you get some George Clooney stuff. It's kind of really hard to see like what's going on entirely. But I do really like that it's got the yellow and that bat emblem. So I think I'm probably just going to kind of put it in that C tier again. It looks good. I like the mask and everything, but it doesn't really do much to go higher or lower. So middle of the road. So then movie-wise, we had a bit of a gap again. We went from 1997 to 2005. Christian Bale coming in Batman Begins. This suit, it's got a lot going for it. I think it's, again, in the movie, they're describing everything about it and looks really fancy and tactile and everything. And then they spray paint it black. And I don't know, it loses some of what made it cool to me. The cowl is like really tight on his face, and you just have like his chin like sticking out like that. The gloves and the gauntlets, the way that they work together too, how it's obvious that the gauntlets are just something he's wearing on top of the suit. I don't think I actually like that very much. It's like a weird, like I imagine like something getting stuck in there and him trying to get it out. Now, the cape itself, I think it's a cool material and everything. I don't think it really works with this suit. It looks out of place. Like, it's obviously kind of cobbled together, which in the movie, again, he is cobbling it together with like billions of dollars, but it's still like not one unified thing. I like the belt. I like that, again, it's a different color, so we do get a breakup, the full black suit. Overall, it works pretty well. I'd give this one a B. Then we get The Dark Knight from 2008, The Dark Knight Rises from 2012 in there. They've got pretty much the same suit. There's a little bit of coloring difference with it. I don't know. It's a step in a direction. It's got the same belt, which I think is cool. I do miss that there's not an emblem for Batman on the belt, but it makes sense, again, in the movie why it's not there. This one is just way more plate armor. Makes sense in the movie and gives him the mobility that they want him to have. But I don't know, like when you're just like looking at it, it's like comparing it to the comics and like is this comic accurate? Not really. His ability to move his head and everything, how it's more like a helmet, is good, but it feels like it gives his head weird proportions to me. Like it looks like a bobblehead. The sculpting on this one, like he's very mad and sad on it. I don't think I like it more than the Batman Begins suit. He also looks way leaner. I mean, obviously, because they took like 50 pounds of rubber off the guy, but he looks way smaller and skinnier than he did in the last movie. But this one, I think, is another B. So then we move to 2009, and we have a live-action Batsuit that definitely doesn't get mentioned on very many lists, and that's going to be Abed's Batsuit from Community, from Season 3, Episode 9, Foosball and Nocturnal Vigilantism. This costume has a special place in my heart because I had this Batsuit. This is the costume that I had when I dressed up as Batman in high school. It's got the padded top to the suit, so you get some nice bulk on it. It's got that belt, which I am a fan of. The cowl, though, does leave a lot to be desired, though it's like a flat piece of material. And then the ears are just literally like sewed on the side of the hood, so that's always fun, too. The cowl is connected to the cape, which works well for a costume at home. And I do like that the materials seem to match a little bit better than the ones that were used in the movie. Abed, I'm real sorry, and it feels mean to do this, but I have to put this Batsuit in F tier. Then we move on to the show Gotham. There's a point where Bruce Wayne stops being a little kid and starts to do some vigilante stuff. And so we got two suits we're going to rank. One is of the main guy who played Bruce Wayne. He started out as a kid on the show, but David Mazouz, he does eventually end up wearing like this leather jacket, which I wouldn't have really counted as a Batsuit, but he's got this mask on. And I don't know, it's hard for me to overlook it. It's the earless Batman. I've been seeing memes of earless Batman, and it does exist. It's in canon. It's right here. And it's not great. I don't think you should feel like you can just go out and buy your Batsuit. This is easily another F tier. At the very end of the show, you get a look at Batman as we all know him. It's played by somebody else named Mikhail Mudrig. He's like a stunt performer guy, I think. And his Batsuit is, I don't know, all right. It's very weird and sectional. There's a big gap between the abs and then like the X on the suit, where if like I was a bad guy, I'm like, I'm going to stab Batman right there. I do think it's interesting what they do with the emblem itself, though, how it kind of like pokes over where the cape connects to it. It gives it a unique look and everything. The cowl is very like angly. I don't think that I like that as much. And we don't really get to see it in any kind of action at all. Abed does more crime fighting in his Batsuit than this guy does in his. The belt's looking all right. It's all one color, though, so I'm not liking that a ton. I'm going to give this one a D. So then that brings us into the DCEU, and this is where Ben Affleck is going to come into the picture, and he's going to get a number of different suits to show it off in, but we're going to start off with that main suit from Batman v Superman. It's black and it's gray, but at least it's two different colors. Again, this one, more than any of them, I miss the briefs on. It looks way too naked. Like you could just take that black from the emblem on this chest, which is looking really cool, very inspired by Frank Miller, obviously, and just put that color in the brief area, and I think that I would definitely be on board. It was fitting what was going on, right? New 52 and everything. At the time in comics, they were not interested in briefs either, and I think it's a missed opportunity. The costume's got like a weird stitching kind of like to it. I don't know what it's supposed to be made out of, but like it looks pretty cool. I like the material of it. It looks durable. It kind of toes that line between like the armored and the more cloth, which I do like. Again, because it's Frank Miller inspired, it's got shorter ears. a lot shorter than I like. It's very sculpted. And for this movie, it works because Batman's only really kind of pulling on one emotion, and that's being angry. So it works for that. But I don't know, if he was trying to do any other kind of real emotion in there, it would be a little hard for me to kind of buy it. Overall, I think it's pretty cool looking. I can understand why people like it. I'm going to put this one in B+, but I'm happy with just B. That one I know I'm going to get talked to about that one, I'm sure. Another Batman v Superman Batsuit is the Nightmare suit, which is like in Batman seeing into the future, and it's like Superman has taken over the world because of Darkseid, and he's fighting against them as the Resistance, and he's running around in a trench coat. He's got a gun, and he wears goggles, which, to be fair, these goggles are not the worst goggles we're going to see this Batman wear. They actually kind of fit with it quite a bit. It's the same Batsuit, but with clothes over it. I am wondering why he's chosen to wear pants over the Batsuit instead of just strapping all of his holsters and everything to just the Batsuit he has on. I'm assuming it must have taken some kind of damage or something to feel the need to put pants on. Otherwise, that means he felt naked down there too, in which case I'm like, bro, just throw some briefs on. It's got the same cowl and everything, so nothing new to report there. I don't know. It's just kind of silly. But I don't mind silly, but this movie, I don't think was going for silly. So I'm going to give this one a C. And then the final suit that Ben Affleck wears in Batman v Superman is that mech suit, the armored suit that he uses to fight Superman at the end. It's got the glowing eyes and everything, which, is different. It's very much big and armor. So it's hard to compare it really directly to the other bat suits. It's as Frank Miller's drawings brought to life. It's not my favorite way to see Batman as a character, but just by looking at the suit, I really think they pull it off. And this is one of the rare occasions where I'm short ears do work for me. Here, I don't think it would look right to have longer bat ears. So for this one, I think I've got to give it an A. I think it really accomplishes what it wanted to do, fits perfectly with the movie that it's in. Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. So the next time we saw Batman live action, 2017, Ben Affleck again, coming in with Justice League. Here, you get a little more color. It's not so much black and gray. There's kind of a blue tint to the suit. But then again, that's also kind of just depending on which version of the movie you're watching. Joss Whedon's making things a lot more colorful. And I don't know if that really works for this suit. It's very similar to the last one. There's just a couple things that are different that I want to point out, specifically the abs. The new one has little kind of plates of armor that are on there. And then there are similar raised parts on the costume kind of throughout as well. The cowl has some differences too. The face looks a lot more sympathetic, which I think fits with the character where he is at this point. He's not as mad. He's way more sad that he got Superman killed and everything. We're still working with some pretty short ears, though, so that's not my favorite. I think I like the Batman v Superman one better than the Justice League suit, just because of that material look. But, it's not that big of a difference. I think this gets a B. Now, the next suit in this movie, I don't like. The tactical bat suit. It's armored in a way that is not working for me. So it just is things put on top of the regular bat suit is how it looks anyway. It's more sleek and smooth than the regular Batsuit he's wearing. His cowl is it looks like the equivalent of putting gel in your hair and slicking it back. That's what the ears are like and everything. I don't like the goggles. Like I mentioned before, the goggles in the nightmare sequence of Batman v Superman, I think they work with the costume. You understand why he's wearing them in context and everything. With this, I'm just it looks like sunglasses. It looks like some kind of sunglasses a kid would choose to wear and everything. Why not build that into the cowl? I would give it a C-, but I don't know, just something about the overall look of it just does not work for me enough where I'm going to kind of bump it down into D. It does have some more color variation, which is nice, but still, I don't know, it's not working. So next up, we get to talk about a fun one. All right, this is from the show Titans, which came out in 2018. I'm pretty sure it's a dream sequence. I'm trying to remember. You get a bit where Batman is killing a bunch of cops. So it's probably not really happening if I'm remembering right. When it comes to the suit itself, it's obvious that they were not shooting this for screen accuracy. It was meant to be a stunt suit. And then that's really how you see it in the show. I mean, it's not really fair to grade it like the other ones, but I'm going to do it anyway. I do like the cape and everything with that. It looks kind of neat. But it looks more like Big Daddy, right, from Kick-Ass than it does Batman. This would be a low D. But don't worry, things are going to get even worse when we talk about TV with Batwoman. 2019, this show started up again. Batman, not a character in here. And they got this suit, right? This is the Batman suit. Batwoman finds the suit and she's going to adjust it and turn it into her own suit. So they had to keep that in mind, right, as they're making it. And so it looks weird. You look at it and it's like, this is obviously the part where it's the chest. But then again, nothing below, no armor, nothing like that at all. I think that the way it's like curved around the head also is very strange looking. And out of all the suits, like even the Lewis Wilson and Robert Lowery and Adam West ones, like this might be the least intimidating one, just because it looks so much like just somebody's in pajamas. I'm not going to pull any punches on this one. This one gets an F. And then we get to the newest new person to play Batman, and that is Robert Pattinson in The Batman, which came out in 2022. This suit has a lot going on. It's very busy, but I think it kind of works. It's cobbled together, again, similarly to Batman Begins, but way less, I don't know, pretty. He's got like these darts on his arms. It's got the collar is really big on the cape and everything, which I do think is pretty cool. You got the cowl, which looks like it's stitched together with like actual pieces of material and everything. It's not like just one mold that they pulled or anything like that. I really like the flat on the nose too. Like it's way different than like what we've seen anywhere else. Like it really kind of actually goes back to almost like what Adam West was trying to do. Got a very unique bat symbol on it. It's a big knife that he can use, which is cool too. The chest and like the stomach area, I don't know, it really works for me though overall. And then the fact that he's like just wearing pants, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. But I definitely understand why he doesn't have briefs on more than anybody else. I wonder how much they're going to change the suit between this one and the sequel, because it's definitely a work in progress. So I feel like we might get a significant jump between the two. I think this one gets an A. And then that brings us to the last live action appearance of Batman, at least as of today, which is The Flash from 2023. We actually get two people playing Batman in this movie, so two costumes to talk about. We're going to talk about Ben Affleck's first. I actively despise this costume. It's got colors, right? You got your blue on there, which I do like. But I hate like the armor pieces that are just like put on it. It looks like if it was an action figure, would be a special version of the Ben Affleck. It really just more than any of the other ones just looks like added on stuff. I'm going to try not to overreact on this one, and I'm just going to put it in D. And then we get to Michael Keaton as Batman in The Flash. And with this one, we first see all of these suits in a scene where he reveals a secret room. And it's awesome. I love this room and just how much imagination everything goes into all of these different suits that we see, and just what it means like for this character as to what he's experienced. It just is a lot of fun. A lot more fun than like anything in particular that happens in the movie. Like I wish I could see like the life of this Batman. But let's go ahead and just start off with the main suit, the suit he wears as he's going about doing his Batman stuff. So it's very similar to like the Batman Returns suit, which good start, good base. Obviously, I enjoyed that one. But it's way newer, way more high tech. But it does away with the belt, and I'm not a fan of that. The new belt is okay, but it's definitely not as good as the 89 Batman Returns belt. Emblem-wise, we're good. It's still sticking very similarly to that Batman Returns one. The suit itself looks more slim on Michael Keaton than it did in any of the other ones. Again, probably because just the material and everything that's on there. I think that the cowl works just as well as the Batman Returns one. I really don't have too much to say about this because it really is a lot like the Batman Returns suit. I'm not going to get it quite as high as that one though, but I'm pretty comfortable putting this one with the A's. So in the scene where we first see that bat suit though, we do see 6 other suits. 2 of them we've already talked about, the one from 89 and the one from Batman Returns. Now you can get a decent look at them here in this scene, but you can get a really good look at them by checking out some of the Hot Toys life-size suits that they were kind of touring around and everything. There's some good footage of that online. And so that's what I'll be referencing really when it comes to this. The first suit all the way on the left, they call it the Cape Crusader suit. The inspiration for this one is very much taken from like Batman's first appearances back in like early Detective Comics. Even the cape itself is like the inside of it has got a different color to it, like that kind of blue purplish tint to it. Batman's got guns also, which is not rare for this Batman. He's blowing people up. This guy has no problem with doing that kind of thing. I love the gray on it. I think the belt is cool as like this is the prototype belt. I also think it's pretty funny. He's got knee pads. The emblem was also very reminiscent to the way that it was shown off in the comics, as well as like those ears on it, just kind of have again, or that curve that we saw back in those early serials. It's pretty fun to see. I don't know how good it would be like in a movie. This one I'm going to be giving a C. Then we got the blue and gray suit. Now the emblem on it, you'll notice, is very similar to the original 89 one, where it's got the wrong amount of points on it and everything. So I think that's a fun little nod. The belt moving in the right direction. The gauntlets looking pretty cool. I just like the colors. I like the colors. I know it's just a little like Easter egg, but I think it would be so cool to see a Batman in these and be able to see a movie pull it off. Could they do it? I don't know. I think maybe it'd be harder than just being the all black armor that we see. But I think it would be fun to see someone actually try to do it. It's got the sculpted muscles on it too, but it's still looking pretty fabric-y. So it's obviously like underneath the material. I think it's awesome. I think this one's very, very cool. But because we're just seeing it again on a mannequin, not really in action, it's hard to really tell how it would really play for real. So I'm not going to be able to give it higher than a B. This next one, they're calling like Gotham Guardian. I'm not 100% sure if it's supposed to be like a scuba situation or if it's supposed to be like just like a breathing situation where you're not getting poison gassed by Scarecrow. I didn't be either of those, though I'm not sure what those wings would be for underwater as much. But then also it would make sense if Batman just had a suit that could deal with gas after having dealt with the Joker. The gauntlets on it are looking like real nasty. Like you could rip somebody up with the blades on that thing. I think the eyes being all covered and everything is a different look too. This one is really just kind of goofy though. It's goofy and not in like a cool, I mean, it's cool and fun, but like it wouldn't be in the way where you would want to see somebody actually wearing this suit in a movie. So I'm going to give this one D tier. And then our last one, finishing it all out, they call it the Arctic suit, which I think is cool. Like, so this Batman's fought Mr. Freeze. I like the idea of that. It obviously looks like he's like kind of put things on top of it. Maybe it's to keep the heat in and everything. But I love that even in putting things on top of the bat suit, he still puts another emblem on top of it. We got another goggle situation here. But I think these ones look at least better than the tactical bat suit one. I like that he's got the carabiners on there too. It looks like he's ready to go rock climbing. And then like he's got the spikes on the knee pads and everything too. And the lace-up boots also, you know, it's time for snow. I'm going to put this one in C tier, probably mostly because it also kind of keeps the original belt that I like so much. But so there we go. That is my ranking of every live-action Batsuit that we've seen so far. If I missed one, please let me know. I'd happy to hear about it. I tried pretty hard to make sure I wasn't missing anything obvious out there. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I did recently just start a Patreon. Do not feel obligated to go and look at that at all, but it's there if you want to support the channel. All right. Thanks a lot for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.